Hey everyone, thanks for stopping through Living To Do's review of The Chi, Season 7, Episode 9, called Last Respects. Before I get started with this review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. So here we go. So we have Emmett. He's lying on the ground, and we see Hannibal. That's the guy's name who's the Spade's partner to Damien. He's over there. Now, I don't know if he was called over here or he happened to show up. But anyway, he was the good Samaritan to pull Emmett out of Jake's apartment and take him to the hospital while Reg just stood there and smoked a cigarette. Practically everyone from the cast is at the hospital visiting Emmett or checking on him. He had his parents there, Damien, his brother, Keisha, Tiff. But Keisha and Tiff, they weren't allowed to see him because they weren't family. Even though Keisha is pregnant, very pregnant with his baby, and Tiff used to be married to him. They have to sit outside, out in the waiting room. Later, Papa showed up, Jamal and Dom showed up, Victor showed up, Nook, and Shad. It was cute how Victor was hugging Tiff in support. They look like a couple. No one's asking questions. Anyway, Nook took Keisha to the side and he informed her that the cops are looking for Reg. Nook was leaving the hospital when he ran into Jake and pushed him up against the wall, telling him he was looking for Reg. Jake told him that he hangs out with Hannibal. I swear, the way he pushed up on Jake, Jake looks like the easy victim. He's a tough little guy, but he looks like an easy victim because he's so skinny. Darnell is in the hospital room with Jada and Damien. This is where he finds out that Damien got money from Jada to pay off his debt. Darnell said that if he catches Damien gambling again, he's going to cut him out of the family. You know, Jada, she's so sympathetic. Plus, she's losing her life to cancer at the moment. So she finds little pity on Damien. Later, Keisha is out in the waiting room with Damien, and she tells him it's all your fault. I hope he hears this. Afterwards, Damien is by his unconscious brother, Emmett, by his bed, and he promises he's going to get his act together. Later, we see him sharing his story at the Gamblers Anonymous meeting, and he's out there telling everybody everything, and, you know, people are listening to him and whatnot. After the meeting, we see him texting, and he's texting Zuri. I think that's the girl played by Karrueche Tran that he was having sex with in the bathroom. He was asking her where she was. Was he looking for moral support or a hookup? Just another addiction that he doesn't need. Outside the hospital was Shad, Victor, and Jake, and they're talking. Jake wants Reg out of his apartment. Shad can't believe what he's hearing. That's your brother, he says. They want him out of their lives. When Jake sees Reg, he told him to get out of his apartment. Reg can't believe that Jake and Victor are choosing Emmett over him. In fact, he says, "You choose that Kenny Lattimore looking brother over me?" Fun fact, Emmett, who is played by Jacob Lattimore, is a cousin to the singer Kenny Lattimore. Personal fact, Kenny Lattimore's song, For You, was the song I chose to have played at my wedding for the first song. I love that song. It's a beautiful song. Victor and Jake are cleaning the blood up, Emmett's blood up off his floor when Hannibal comes through. He's looking for Reg. Now we see Reg. He landed at Candace's house. And Candace is the girl that Dante was hugging up on when Reg was over, and later it seemed like it was some weird vibe. It looked like he was interested. You know, Reg was sniffing up on her. He's a dog. He's a mutt. Nuck is looking for Reg, so he goes over to Hannibal's house. And his wife answered the door. Nobody knew Hannibal was married, and he's married to the actress Kyla Pratt, is playing his wife. And Nook said, if Reg asks to stay with you, let him. Kyla Pratt's character says, oh, hell no. That ain't happening. If he stays here, Hannibal, you stay on the couch. Hannibal, Hannibal's not interested. That man's not staying over here. Hannibal texted Reg and found out that he's staying at Candace's house, and he paid him a visit. And Keith is there too. And we find out that Keith, the felon that was working at Smokey's, he is the cousin to Candace. And him and Reg get to talking. Reg is very candid. He says, I shot Emmett. And then they find, and he tells him, I shot him because he came in my house because I beat up his brother Damien. He lost a bet. It's news to Keith, but Keith also tells Reg, I lost my job because of Damien. And he didn't go into detail about how he even took a bid for Damien. Hannibal pays them a visit. They get to talking, and Hannibal asks, do you need anything? And Reg says, I need a shooter. Keith says he don't want to be the shooter. He doesn't want to do anything that will put him back in jail. But he knows a shooter. She's a girl. But I guess she's a sharpshooter. She's never missing. They bring this girl over to Candace's house, and this is how they test her and interview her. They have her playing a video game that's shooting up everything, and they like her style. She's all tatted up. She's tatted up to her neck. She's like a real pretty girl, but she's real tough and whatnot. Actually, she looks, in a weird way, she kind of looks trans to me. She has, she looks like a guy. She got the tat, but she got some makeup on. And it's just a weird look. She looks, I don't know. I'm not sure what her name was, so I'm going to call her Gangsta Tran. I guess she passed the shooting test, and she's going to be Reg's shooter. Back at the hospital, Tiff asked Victor, why didn't you tell me that Reg was still alive? Victor said, I didn't tell anybody. I guess Tiff thought they were closer than that. And the way she responded, I thought to myself, Victor might have lost Tiff. It rubbed her the wrong way. Even Alicia showed up at the hospital, and she gave her premature condolences, telling Tiff, I'm sorry for your loss. At this point, they didn't know if, Emmett was alive because they're still working on him. Alicia thinks it would be important that she have a will drawn up, that Tiff does. Later, she has her lawyer draw up a will for Tiff and made Tiff the executor of her estate. And this shocks Tiff. This is all for her grandson that's going to be born soon. And Alicia just wants to guarantee that this grandson will be taken care of. But Tiff's about to be rich. So if everyone's at the hospital concerned about Emmett, who's taking care of the kids? Will Keisha still take care of EJ? I mean, that's a lot on Keisha, while Tiff lives like a rich princess. Especially if her and Emmett might be in the hospital at the same time when she's giving birth to his son. His grandmother, the baby's grandmother is dying, and Damien might gamble those kids away. It's just, everybody's at the hospital. I'm just concerned about the kids. Speaking of kids, Jamal and Dom are at the hospital, and Jamal brings up his legacy and him wanting kids again. Dom doesn't want them. She still doesn't want them. They go to therapy, and he talks about his legacy, and she's like, what legacy? You right. What legacy do you have to offer? So there's more to come on that. Keisha leaves the hospital because she wants something to do, just sitting around and waiting, and she can't see him. So she goes to Smokey's. It's her way of helping Emmett with the business. We see her taking inventory, cleaning the grill. She's even interviewing new hires because, they might have some downtime. She's going to have a baby, and he has to recover from a gunshot wound. Dom stops by. She has somebody who knows somebody. That somebody comes, sits down, and they have an interview. Now, this really is needed because Damien, who is family, who stole from them and has a gambling problem, Keisha doesn't want him around the register. So this girl comes around and she's being interviewed. She doesn't even know how to act. She's cussing in the interview. Keisha asked her about if she's ever been in trouble with the law. Does she have a record? She said no, but she had a close call. It was a mistaken identity. And I'm trying to think, is that going to be a storyline that someone shoots her or shoots at her thinking she's somebody else? And I'm thinking, will that be that Gangsta Tran? Because they don't look alike, but their hair is somewhat alike. That I'm thinking, and the girl, she acts really tough, almost butch-like. She's the girl that she interviews is Punky Johnson. And she's the girl who is a character on SNL. She does those skits and things. I guess she's a comedian. Though they did, Dom and Keisha did talk about bringing Kenya back because she used to work there. And I'm thinking to myself, do you think Kenya would want to work here? Does she have more aspirations than working at a chicken joint? Other things that happened in the episode, Pastor Z lost his church, I guess, because the parishioners are not really happy with him. And Sarah, his white girlfriend, is leaving him because basically he's poor. He's not grandiose with the big old church and nothing like her father who has that mega church. So she has options, so she's going to leave. And one of her options is not being poor. So bye, girl. Pastor Z will now be preaching at Papa's father's old church. His mom doesn't like this idea, but Papa thinks it will be good for them. We find out Kenya has a gun. Her grandma Renee found it. That's played by Felicia Rashad. Her mother and her grandmother were putting away her clothes. Her grandmother was putting away her underwear in her underwear drawer and found a gun. Why is your grandmother in your underwear drawer? Kenya, put your own clothes away. So because of this gun, her mother and grandmother are scared. They call a family meeting, which includes Pastor Z. She got the gun from Tay, and I guess she felt scared. She was hanging around the wrong element for one, and she thinks she's going to be next. What I don't understand, why there was no discussion about her son, Miles, getting to that gun. That was just in a drawer. Pull open the drawer. He would have seen the gun and picked it up and started playing with it. He would have hurt himself or somebody else. That was just stupid, and there should have been a talk about that. So Pastor Z is having a little church service and at his new church. Before then, he has a talk, his little talks with Nuck. Well, Nuck comes over and they're at the new church, Papa's church. Papa's father's church, and Papa's father's picture is on the wall. And you could see that Nuck is a little nervous. Pastor Z's like, what's up, man? What's going on? Nuck tells Pastor Z that he was the one that killed because he had orders from Duda. That really puts Pastor Z in a strange predicament. You take over this man's church and your little mentee here tells you killed the man. Do you tell Papa? Do you tell the law? Or do you sweep it under the rug? Pastor Z's first sermon is on gang violence. Well, you're in Chicago. Is that new? He did say something profound, though. He said that we are the accomplices of our own extinction. And I believe that. Put those guns down. So Hannibal texted Nuck about Reg's whereabouts. We see that Nuck texted Detective Toussaint about the whereabouts. Detective Toussaint rolls up on Reg. He's outside smoking something. And she's out there taking pictures. I guess she's building a case. She's not going to straight out shoot him. In fact, I guess she wants him in jail, not dead necessarily. So the last scene, Emmett wakes up. His parents are there along with Damien. The first thing he asks is, where's Keisha? Then Keisha comes running in the room and she's hugging him and he asked her to marry him. Oh, it was so sweet, bittersweet. Now you'll be able to come into the hospital rooms and when each other are hurt or whatnot. It was a good episode. A lot of new faces. The Chi is destined to have every black actor on here. They have Kyla Pratt, great addition. Punky Johnson from SNL. And I guess we can't forget Gangster Tran. But that was it. Thank you for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.